Right then, we've got some results. Hello everybody, this is Bradley from Politics UK, and in our first video today we're going to be doing a bit of a dive into the early results that will shape the overall picture for what we're going to see over the next 24 hours as more results come in. But take a look at it. Fundamentally, despite all analysis we might do here, Reform are the real winners, because in Wigan they picked up 24 out of 25 seats, Thameside 18 out of 19, Hull 10 out of 19, pick up quite a few from the Lib Dem and Labour, Hartlepool all of the 12, Dudley only missing out on 3 seats out of 25, Plymouth picking up 14, we'll take a look at that in a minute as well, Southampton picking up nearly half of the seats, and really the only reason they're not picking up these councils as council gains is because these councils are electing by thirds, and that's really shunting their potential growth. So thankfully Luke Trill at More in Common has come up with a really handy graphic. This is something I was going to basically just talk over, but just before I started recording he actually posted this, so yeah, this was really useful. But in terms of vote share, what we're seeing in London is actually Labour and Conservative vote is holding up really well so far. We haven't got to the parts of London that are more green friendly yet, so that's really where we're going to see whether Labour lose, let's say, I don't know, 1,700 seats or just 1,400, 1,300, because it really depends on the scale of green pickup in London on just how bad a night this could be for Labour. But if we take a look outside of London, just look at this. You have Reform nearly double Labour's vote share, winning landslides over most of Labour's northern seats. I mean, if we take a look at what this would have looked like a couple of years ago, you would probably have Labour on about 40% outside of London. For a lot of these seats that have been counted so far, we are genuinely seeing Labour drops of 30, 40, 50% even. Conservatives 17%, about their national polling level, not too much of a shock. They're probably the biggest overperformers compared to their polling position of the night so far. Reform, I'd argue, are also slightly overperforming relative to what the polls say. Green Party, there or thereabouts, they need to pick up in London, and maybe we'll get some more councils outside of London that are a bit more green friendly. We saw positive signs for them in Oxford, which we'll go over in a second. Lib Dems 11%, yeah, that's about their national polling level, no shock there. We are still waiting on a lot of the stronger Lib Dem areas to come through though. So if we look at the change in vote share, this is really the big one. So change in vote share in London, it's just a lot more subdued. It's a lot less erratic. These are more normal shifts that we see in politics. None of this is particularly crazy. Like, okay, yeah, you're seeing signs that, okay, Reform and Greens, yeah, they're picking up some good vote share here. And Labour and the Tories would lose a fair bit off the back of this, but this isn't catastrophic. What's happening outside of London is... So we have Labour again exploring it. A lot of their heartlands have come through so far, and they're at minus 20%. And in a lot of those stronger areas for them, where they were already sitting at 50, 60% of the vote, they've fallen down to 30, 20. So really, really big drops for them. Obviously, there's some of the more conservative areas outside of London where they were only sitting at 10% anyway. So that's going to, when we're talking the averages here of how much vote share they've lost, it's going to bring it down a little bit. We are also seeing an early sign that actually, and this is something that I called out in my predictions video yesterday, which, by the way, thank you guys so much for the support on that. I think we're at nearly 100k views now, gained loads of subscribers, so seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for that. I really appreciate it. But as I called out in my predictions video, where Reform stand, we do tend to see, outside of the sort of the city independents, we'll sort of go with, we do tend to see that Reform pick up vote share at the expense of local independents. So seeing a bit of a drop there is not too much of a shock. So again, a really useful one from More in Common. Actually, you know, we'll give it a like just to be nice. Reform and the Conservatives are outperforming the polls so far. This is as of 8:25, so just about an hour ago as I'm recording this. The Conservatives are currently outperforming the polls by 6%. This is mostly coming from a lot of strength in London, and in maybe some of their strongholds, they're just not having as big of a drop as you'd expect. Reform are outperforming their polling average by about 3%. Labour basically exactly dead on where we expected them to be. Greens are down a little bit so far, but again, we need to wait and see for these more green-friendly areas to come through. And the Lib Dems, actually, it's suggesting it's not a phenomenal night for them so far. Bear in mind, this is not the change in vote share compared to last time. This is just out of where we expected them to be. from all of the polling beforehand, where are these results actually coming in? And equally, we have a lot of more Lib Dem friendly seats coming later through the day. So big stories here. Labour loses Redditch and Hartlepool Council to no overall control. As we covered in that first tweet, we're seeing massive swings here. Hartlepool Reform picking up every single seat. So let's just take a look through from Election Maps UK some of the maps that have been produced so far. So Southampton Reform going from absolutely nowhere to picking up half of the seats up for grabs. Lib Dems picking up a couple. Greens performing quite well, and really, look, big story between this. Labour, massive drop off. And now we've seen a Labour loss to no overall control. Next, I want to cover a Reform gain in Newcastle under Lyme. And again, you'd have seen this one coming if you watched one of our prediction videos from a couple of days ago, where we covered some of the polling in the West Midlands in this region. This is the first of the West Midlands results to come through, and it is really positive for Reform. So we are expecting a really big boost for Reform once the rest of these West Midlands councils come through. And it'll be really interesting to see what they can do in Birmingham as well, which we'll cover definitely in another video later on. But look at this, Thames side. Labour lost to no overall control because this council was electing in thirds, and simply put, Labour had such a big majority in this area, it has been wiped out. They no longer have a majority because Reform have picked up every single councillor available bar one, having come from absolutely nowhere in just 2023. Now, let's take a look at Oxford, because this is one of the more green-friendly councillors that we've looked at so far. For them, a good few gains here. Labour losing out on quite a few council areas, but also vote share drop in every single ward in Oxford. So, yeah, really negative night for Labour, as you'd expect. There's not really going to be many seats where they do gain vote share. I think I've seen about 2 or 3 so far. So, yeah, really, and those are in areas where they won about 6% of the vote last time we held elections. Labour do actually return the most councillors here with 10, but the Greens are on 9 and have, I think, made about 5 gains there. So yeah, really good result for the Greens there. Potential signs for what we could see down the line later today in London. Now, I wanted to take a look at Wandsworth here. So this effectively has ended up as a Conservative majority because there was an independent elected in here that's really popular basically, and they are a former Conservative from what I understand, or a Conservative-minded councillor. So overall we have the Conservatives on 29 seats, gaining from Labour. So the reason I've included this one for analysis is basically this is one of the very few areas where Labour and the Conservatives have held up really strongly, and we've seen that so far with the more affluent areas of London, and actually a really good sign that the polling is picking up the right kind of idea. We are seeing that in more affluent areas where people feel safe in their financial standing, and put frankly, I don't want to go sort of too down on this, but the main reason these poor working class regions and younger people are turning to the Green Party and turning to Reform is out of desperation, basically. They've been driven away from the two main parties and feel like they've been let down for so long that they have to change their voting behaviour. As we jump to Halton, this was one of the most incredible swings I think I've ever seen in a council election. We genuinely saw swings of, I mean, as a sum, about 100% between Labour to Reform. There were seats where Labour were on about 80%, 70% last time, and have genuinely dropped 40, 50%, and Reform have gone from 0 to 60%, to 50%, to 40% across the council. This was, I mean, the swing in Halton, absolutely incredible. I don't think any of us really expected swings anywhere near that big. Labour have had 2 holds, and they do hold the overall council because this was only electing in thirds. But yeah, clear signs here. If Reform stay where they are, this is a council they will categorically pick up once more of these seats become available in the next few years. To get an idea of this, so in Halton, this is the overall score. Labour down 35%, Tories down 12%, being completely squeezed out of contention. Lib Dems fairly stagnant, Greens up 10%. So again, in some of these more working class, left-leaning areas, younger people are turning to the Green Party from Labour. We're seeing that increase in vote share. And Reform up 41% from a standing start, which is just absolutely crazy result. And we're going to finish off our tour today in Portsmouth. Lib Dems picking up quite a few seats here from Labour, and Reform pick up a lot as well. The Independents have been wiped out, and the Conservatives nearly holding on to just 1 seat in the northeast. But there is my early analysis from today. If you want to keep up to date with everything going on and all of the latest news and the fallout from this election, make sure you subscribe to the channel and let me know down in the comments where you think the rest of today is going to go. We have Scotland and Wales coming up as well. So I look forward to hearing from you guys, and until next time, I'll see you later. Goodbye.